And welcome, and know your soul is welcome here. Welcome to Unity of Phoenix. And welcome to our Sunday Soul Celebration. I'm Richard Morris, Senior Minister here. It's great to see you. We have a fabulous service planned for you today, and so glad that you're here for us to enjoy it and create this amazing experience of God together. Welcome, everyone.
Hi, I'm Richard Rogers. I'm the utility infielder around here, and we are so glad that you're here with us today.
Right.
And our intention today is that you feel profoundly loved, that you feel the presence and power of God, and that we knock your socks off.
All right. Woo! I love that. All right. So right now, it's time to prepare ourselves for meditation. And so I invite you to set everything aside, turn your phones off on vibrate or turn it off. So I invite you to just take a deep breath and just close your eyes and open your heart and just let go and relax into this moment. Take another cleansing deep breath as we just open our hearts to feel God's unconditional love in us and all around us. Because it is truly in God's love that we live and move and have our very being. God is love. And we have been created in the image and likeness of love. So again, just take a deep breath and just breathe in love. And feel God's love just softening you, soothing you and comforting you, relaxing you. And just helping you to remember that there's nothing you don't need to do to struggle or fight for God's love. It's always there. Just waiting, fully available, supporting you, to guide you and provide you with all that you need to handle what is before you and to live life and live it more abundantly. Take another deep breath and just see how much lighter you feel when you let go and let God's love support you. And so I invite you just to let God's love wash over you, cleansing, relaxing, refreshing, and renewing you in mind, body, and spirit. For it truly is the Father's good pleasure to give us the kingdom. Just know that God is not withholding anything from you. But God delights and desires to give as much as you open yourself to receive. So just open your heart to receive. Open yourself to the abundance and the possibilities and the wisdom and the beauty of God that is always available. Just relax into the awareness that not only are you unconditionally loved by God, but God has a plan and a purpose for your life. A plan to prosper you. A plan to bless you. A plan to use you as a light of peace and love and wisdom and beauty in this world, in your family, in our community. So just know you don't have to struggle or fight. Just open yourself and let God be God in you. Let God heal what needs to be healed and reveal what needs to be revealed so you can let your light shine. So you can live and step fully into the person you have come here to be and live the life you have come here to live, to make the difference you have come here to make. In the Psalms it is written, "Be still and know that I am God." So for the next few moments, let's just rest in the awareness of God. Letting God heal or minister to you or touch you or heal you in exactly the way that your life needs it now. Be still and know that I am God. that we've allowed our hearts to be filled to overflowing with an awareness of God's love. Let's turn our loving thoughts and prayers to our loved ones. If you have a family member or a friend, a neighbor or a coworker in need of prayer and healing, let's bring them into our hearts and see them in our mind's eye. We also include all the prayer requests that have come into our ministry and all people in the world seeking peace and healing and wholeness. And we affirm for all these individuals that the healing, miracle-working power of God is bringing about the right answer, the right order, and the right outcomes in their lives, and for everyone involved. And before we leave, I want you to remember the feeling you're feeling right now. And know this same feeling of peace, this feeling of oneness and connection is always with you. For God is closer to our hands and feet and nearer than our breath. So we give thanks for this time to commune and to connect with the Spirit. And we give thanks for all the good that will come forth as a result of this time of prayer. And we pray this all and give thanks for it all through the name and the power of the living Christ Spirit. And so it is. Amen.
So last week, Richard began a series on essentialism. And essentialism really is getting to the core of the core, getting to those things that are absolutely essential to you living your greatest life. And we're using for this 2-week series a best-selling book entitled Essentialism by Greg Cohen. It's called Disciplined Pursuit of Less. Now, one of the things that he talks about is the difference between quality and quantity. How many of us like more? What if it's the best? See, one of the things I want us to look at in our society today, we are in pursuit of more. More of this, more of that, more of everything. But oftentimes, more doesn't satisfy our soul as much as the best does. One of the things that Jesus did was he modeled the best. He wore a seamless robe. Now, a seamless robe at his time was like the most expensive suit you could have. But he didn't have 20 of them. He had one, but he had the best. In our culture today, we go for more. Is there any room in your closet right now? Right? If we want to get one blouse, then 5 is better. If it's 3 for the price of 1, it's for me, right? And what we lose sometimes in that idea is quality. You know, the first time I went to Europe, I went to Italy, and I experienced the Italian people, and they may only have 3 or 4 outfits. Some of them had 2 or 3 outfits. But each outfit was absolutely the highest quality. It was beautiful. And what we go for in our culture oftentimes is just king size it. You know, just give us more. And what if today we began to make choices that really satisfied our soul? So today I'm going to focus on the last 2 sections of this book, and it's called Elimination and Execution. And the question that I want to place before you today is to ask the question, are you enough? Just the way you are you enough? You got 2 people that are really loud about yes. Right? Because it seems like every other question, every other experience of life stems from this question, if you're enough. Because if you believe you're enough, you live a very different life than if you believe that you're not enough. If you believe that you're enough, even in the ups and downs of life, you're absolutely okay. You're not traumatized when things work out or when they don't work out, because you know at your core that you're enough. And over again, there's this question in life that we have to decide, am I enough? Am I enough just the way I am? Because if we're not enough, there tends to be 2 things that happens. The first thing that tends to happen if we believe that we're not enough is that we find ways to implode our life. If we have too much good, if we have too many blessings, if we have too much of anything, we find a way to implode it because we don't believe that we're enough. We don't believe that we're good enough for whatever's happening. Whatever the job or the relationship, whatever's going on, we find a way to implode it, to make our life smaller because we don't think that we're enough for that life. And the second thing that we tend to do is when we are not enough, we tend to add on things because we have this belief that says, if I add enough things to my life, then I will be enough. Have you ever done that? Have you ever added a few extra things to your life that you didn't know you didn't really want or need, but you had this belief that if I just have a little bit more, then I'm finally going to be enough? Can I get a volunteer? You, sir, will you come up here? I want you to sit down right here. Now, Jim's going to represent all the times in our life where we don't feel like we're enough. All right? Is that fair? And all the ways that we go about trying to become enough. So, let's start with education. So sometimes when we don't feel like we're enough, we think if we just get a little bit more education, then we will be enough. Right? And if education doesn't make us feel like we're enough, then we'll get a special relationship. We'll find somebody special in our life because everybody knows that if you're in a relationship, then you have to be enough. Right? And if that doesn't work, right, then we go about finding a great job. Right? Because everybody knows if you have a great job, then you're finally enough. And if that doesn't work, then we find a fast car. Because there's nothing like a fast car to make us feel like we're enough. Doesn't matter the tickets or the insurance, a fast car will always make us feel like enough. And if that doesn't work, then we just get a new house. Right? Excuse me. Here, right there. Chest hairs and all, buddy. New house, right? New house. And if that doesn't work, it's time to get married. Because when we get married, that proves that what? We're enough. And if that doesn't work, then we get our first promotion, right? Because the promotion finally tells us that we are enough. And if that doesn't work, then it's time to have kids. Because kids will absolutely prove that we are enough. And if that doesn't work, then it's time for a bigger house. It's time to move to Scottsdale. Because nothing says enough like moving to Scottsdale. True? And if that doesn't work, it's time for the minivan. There you go. And if that doesn't work, then nothing proves that we're enough like the fantasy vacation. Europe, Paris, Bora Bora, Singapore. The fantasy vacation finally proves that we're enough. You're looking good. You're looking strong. And very fashionable. And if that doesn't work, it's time for a boat. Because nothing says you're enough as having a boat in Arizona. And then it's time for a bigger promotion, right? Because if you're not enough, more work will absolutely make you feel like you're enough. And then it's time for the kids to go off to college. Oops. There you go. Okay, so have you ever played this game? That you're just going to keep adding and adding and adding until finally you feel like enough. The problem is that if the foundation isn't enough, no matter how much you put on top of it, the foundation doesn't change. That if we don't work at our core level to feel enough, we can never get to enough with more. And some of us are working so hard with the belief that if I can just get a little bit more, I'm finally going to be happy. But what this process really is all about is to begin to look at the things in your life and say, does this align with my soul? Is this moving me the direction that makes my soul sing, or am I just adding more stuff? Can we give Jim a big round of applause and thank him for his work? Now, when you saw Jim walk away, didn't you think of the scripture that says, when Jesus said, come to me all who are heavy laden, and I will give you rest, for my way is easy and my yoke is light? Like, when we're adding a life just based on more, based on more, based on more, it gets to be so exhausting. And what if today we focused on two things, the last two sections in the book, elimination and execution? Now, what's interesting about this is, for the most part, if you look over the last several thousand years, many spiritual practices have taught elimination, right? Many spiritual practices taught that we should just denounce everything in life, right? That we should just shave our head, put on a robe, go find a cave, and just denounce everything and give up everything in the world, right? In Unity, we have this unique position is we don't want you to give up everything, but we also don't want you to be buried by everything. And that there's an incredible shift that happens in your life when you begin to create a life that totally aligns and works for your soul. You then begin to look at everything in your life and say, is this for my highest and the best? Because has everybody had that moment when you feel overwhelmed by the life that you've created? Where you just said yes to everything for so long, to so many things, that you just can't manage the basic details because you've got one commitment after another until you're not having any more fun? That life has lost its joy, it's lost. And that unless we learn to let go, unless we learn to let go of the things that no longer serve us, we're just getting exhausted. I am set free from the limitations of the past. Will you say that with me? I am set free from the limitations of the past. One more time, like we actually mean it. I am set free from the limitations of the past. How many of you like to clean out a closet? Oh, you are not my people. Like, I want to go hang out with the 9 o'clock people. There was like 3 at the 9 o'clock service, right? Because for many of us, I'll own this, for myself, cleaning out a closet is not always fun. It's more fun to go get stuff to put in that closet. I actually am much better at getting stuff to put in that closet, right? But the problem is, when your closet is full and your garage is full and your storage unit is full, all that stuff requires spiritual energy. Can you hear that? It's all spiritual energy. And that energy that you've devoted to all that stuff is actually taking you away sometimes from your heart's desire. And there's this critical moment where we begin to look at our life and everything that's in it. And we begin to say to ourselves, what would I rather have if I can't have everything? Because one of the greatest lies is that you can have it all. How many of you have ever gone to a buffet and tried to eat it all? Right? So you can't have it all. It's a lie. It's a spiritual lie that you can have it all, but you can't have the best. But to know what the best is, you have to kind of look at everything in your life and ask the question, what would I rather have, this or my heart's desire if I can't have both? And there's an incredible moment when you turn back into your life, when you turn back into your closet, your garage, your cupboards, and begin to look at the things in your life and say, what would I rather have, this or my heart's desire? If I can't have everything, is this really taking me in the direction that I want to go? Because the path to happiness is not more. It's not addition, it's actually subtraction. So what would I have to subtract? What thought, what belief, what thing would I have to subtract out of my life to be profoundly happy? See, the spiritually mature actually take dominion over their stuff. And they begin to look at everything in their life and say, is this adding or subtracting? Is it taking more energy to clean and ensure and move this stuff around than it's giving me? And if it's taking more energy than it's giving me, it's time to let it go. It's time to release it, sell it, burn it, give it away so that you get to move forward in your life. So if you made an honest list of your life right now, what are the top 5 things that come to your mind right now, just right now? What are the top 5 things that come to your mind that you know it's time to let go of? And you don't get to elbow your partner and give them your list. Right? Wouldn't that be great? Here's the 5 things I want you to let go of in your life for us to be happy. Right? And when you get this list done, no, I got another 5 right after that. But it's self-exposure. It's really turning within yourself to say, what are the things that I need to let go of to be profoundly happy? And that's the road of elimination. So that you get to live a life that speaks and makes your soul sing. And once we get really good at eliminating all the extra stuff, then we come to the execution step. And the execution step is really about how do we move this forward. So once our life is cleaned out, once we've released all the things that no longer serve us, and we actually have the energy to move forward and create our heart's desire, then we actually begin to say, what would it take for me to have my heart's desire? The 3 things I want to talk to you about in this step is the first one is to know your values, your true values. Not the values that you're giving lip service to, but what are your true values? 12 years ago, my dad was diagnosed with a brain tumor. And his prognosis was that he had 10 months. And that was the first time in my life where I actually contemplated my own end. First time I even really thought about it with any degree of depth. And I began to look at what are the values that I wanted to live, not the values that I'd lived to that point, but what are the values that I wanted to live going forward. And for me, it came down to 3. These were the 3 most important things that I wanted to live in my life. And I wanted to live happy, I wanted to live free, and I wanted to live wildly in love. When I looked at the values before, my number 1 value before that was making sure everybody else was happy. And that actually worked. I had a very successful life because everyone around me was very happy. And when they weren't happy, I gave them an unbelievable amount of my time and attention to see if I could get them happy. The only cost was me. And I began to make changes in my life based on these 3 things. I wanted to be happy, I wanted to be free, and I wanted to be wildly in love. And to reorganize my life based on those things wasn't always easy, but it took me to a very different place. That this path on essentialism really is the path of getting you back to your soul. Getting you out of all the confusion and chaos and stuff in your life and tagging you back to the way that your soul naturally is in the world. For me, being happy, free, and wildly in love was a game changer. So the first one is you have to know what your values are, your real values. The second one is you actually have to know what you're feeling. So you don't really have a sense of judging anything or discerning anything in your life if you're not conscious. That you actually have to stay awake. You have to stay awake over and over again to ask yourself the question, did that feel good? Do I want more of that? Do I really like what that is? Or no, I didn't really like that. I didn't enjoy that. I don't want more of that at all. So you have to stay conscious. And staying conscious absolutely is the path of living the spiritual life. You have to stay conscious. And the third aspect of it is you have to have an empowered yes and an empowered no. You have to have an empowered no so that you can say no to all the things that no longer work for you. And you have to say an empowered yes that allows you to go in a direction that maybe you've never gone before. That once you know your yes and once you know your no, everything in your life gets so much easier. You finally have your spiritual knife that allows you to cut through all the confusion and chaos and actually begin to see your life. The life that God has wanted to give you from the beginning. Today, I'm going to invite you just to go back to you. Not some magical version of you, but the you that you've always been, that you came into this world to be. To get back to what's essentially who you are. And to create a life that absolutely honors and expresses the dignity of your soul. That you came for something. I believe that you came for something great, something profound, something simple, something wonderful. You came to express God. And when we get back to that, everything in our life gets better. So you ready for your homework? I want you to let go of 5 things that you know in your life are no longer fitting, that don't work, that don't make sense. Little, big, I don't care. 5 things in your life that it's time for you to let go of. And I want you to make one new choice today. I want you to make one new choice that would take you in a new direction, that would absolutely make your heart sing, your soul sing. Make you happier maybe than you've been for a long, long time. That through the power of your yes and through the power of your no, you cut through the confusion and you get back to you. And what we find is that that's a pretty good thing. That there's a reason that God created you the way you are. Because you are the gift that God wanted to give to the world. But until we get back to who we truly are, we miss the greatest gift of all. Will you pray with me? I invite you to open your mind, your heart, your soul to the activity of God. That there is only one presence and one power moving in and through each and every one of us. And today we make the inner commitment to be 100% true to ourselves. To get back to our essence, our truth, who we really are. And today, all we get, the only tools that we need, are our yes and our no. Through our yes and our no, we have the ability to experience the kingdom of heaven right here, right now. In the name and through the power of the living Christ. And so it is. Amen. God bless you all. Have a great week. Thanks for being here.